Alrighty. I'm going live once again to discuss what is going on here with Major Hurricane Laura. I'll let some people come in and we'll go ahead and kind of get started here in just a moment. I'll let some people come in. Again, for you folks just joining, we are going to be discussing Major Hurricane Laura this evening. So, if you folks just joining, welcome. So, we have a couple of very important things to kind of go ahead and get started with. Recon is finding, I have no words for what Recon is finding. It's kind of one of those sombering moments that you know that you just inevitably you're going to have destruction. And the latest pass through Recon was 942 millibars. They found an extrapolated of about 937. So this is getting close here to going sub 940 millibars with the surface winds approaching 130 knots. Flight level winds almost at 140 knots. So this thing is taking off ridiculously quick here. And again, the 6 p.m. Update was about 947 at 145. Moving northwest at 15. We should see this increase to 155 miles per hour at the 8 o'clock intermittent update. This is a very significant situation that's going to be unfolding for portions of Louisiana and the eastern Texas coastline here this evening. Again, this still has about another 3 to 5 hours right before landfall, and this is going to be very significant. It reminds me of Michael. This is basically Michael all over again, except just a different name in a different place. But this is literally Hurricane Michael all over again. And you knew, if you guys know what destruction that brought to Mexico Beach, this is going to be probably something similar, if not a little bit worse, than Mexico Beach in 2018 with Hurricane Michael. And this is moving almost due north now. It doesn't have much of a northwesterly component to it. So it's moving almost due north, heading straight, basically, for Lake Charles and surrounding vicinity. You notice that there is far-reaching impacts with showers and thunderstorms all the way up to near Mississippi and northern Mississippi, all the way through Mobile, Alabama. Tornado warnings all the way up into basically almost southwestern Mississippi. 155 surface wind. We should see that reflected in the 8 p.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center. So the pressure, they said now, honestly, the, basically either way, between 155 and 160 miles per hour, there's no difference. You're not going to notice a 5 mile per hour difference in those situations. And these very high-end events, the damage has already been done before it's even begun. If that makes sense, there's no escaping significant damage at this point in time. Even if you do manage to get some shear that kind of kicks in and whatever, you're going to have a very significant situation kind of panning out here, and this is likely to be a very devastating event that is going to unfold very quickly here. We're only approaching about another about 5 to 6 hours right before landfall at this point, probably a little bit sooner than that. I wouldn't be surprised if so I'm thinking that what's going to happen is at the 8 o'clock, we're probably going to get an adjustment with the winds to about 155. And if this keeps continuing, it might be a Category 5 at landfall. Even if it's not, it will probably get, boosted up in post-analysis at the very end of this hurricane season. Before it makes landfall, the eye is going to go right over an area of hot Gulf. It won't weaken much. It seems Yeah, it's just going to keep on going, you know. And there's some hints that there might be some shear affecting Laura right now, but it seems like that we're pretty much getting to the cusp of a Category 5 hurricane at this very moment in time. Yes, I have noticed the other wave, John. Right now it has a 20% over the next 5 days, and I'll be waiting for the 8 o'clock tropical weather outlook for that as well. So this has potential to be a 5. Yeah, I mean, you know, but good thing is we kind of saw this coming, though, days in advance. The science was there to tell us that something like this could happen. You know, the H-Wharf model that we've been talking about, the UK Met, it's basically, you know, just gone crazy with this. I can't believe 24 hours. Yeah, 24 hours ago, the pressure 24 hours ago at this exact time was about 983 millibars. It's almost in the 930s now. It's almost sub 940s. Yes, but I only thought of 4. Yeah, I mean, it's basically right on the cusp of becoming a Category 5. It's almost there. Massive eye. Yeah, it's got a pretty wide eye here. I'm going to try to measure that actually on radar scope here on my phone. By the way, so the eye is about 30 miles wide at the moment. You notice all of these little kind of specks in here of, let's kind of clear that. You notice all these little specks in here of kind of these positive little symbols. This is lightning strikes within the eye. So that's representative of a very strong eye wall. And this is going to be providing and paving the way for a very significant damaging event to unfold. This represents a storm that is still strengthening on approach into the Gulf Coast at this very moment. The eye might be the best I've seen in a while. It's incredible. And you know what I'm going to do is, because my other radar site, or my other thing doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the mesosector for the GO-16 satellite from Tropical Tidbits, and I'm going to see here. It was 9:36. So I have actually not seen anything of 9:36 an hour ago. Basically all the drop zones, the last recon plane that was in there found 9:47, and now they've found 9:42. So it's still strengthening though, which is fairly significant. Yeah, I know. You know, it's such kind of a beautiful sight, but it gives you that pit in your stomach. I mean, look at that. You know, that's absolutely insane. That eye wall is absolutely incredible. And you can see where you've got new deep convection firing almost all the way over the center. You can see almost a little western wobble there. We're going to see some wobbles from time to time, but in general now it's taking more of that northern turn on its final approach into Louisiana. I'm very worried for the people who did not evacuate. The Hurricane Center now explicitly states that we could see storm surge that extends 40 miles inland. And again, for reference, you know, right in here at the landfall location, about 15 to 20 feet of storm surge. In some cases, this could be higher than Hurricane Rita, of course, obviously where that made landfall. But this could be fairly substantial, life-threatening. There's no way around it. It is going to cause destruction, and I'm sorry, but this is going to be very bad. I would say, so probably because we're getting winds up at the higher levels that are up there at Category 5 intensity, and you know, it's just crazy. So the new update for Hurricane Laura has come out at the 8 o'clock advisory. Winds increasing as extremely dangerous Hurricane Irma takes aim here. So we're going to go back here and look for the 8 o'clock intermittent advisory, which now has winds of 150 miles per hour with a pressure down to 940 millibars, moving north-northwest at 15 miles per hour. The Hurricane Center had this peaking at 150 miles per hour at their forecast discussion at 5 o'clock. They had a peak here of 150 miles per hour So we are at that peak now and will likely suppress that peak. So 150 miles per hour, 940 millibars. This is an extremely dangerous situation here that is unfolding. So this is going to be a very significant situation that is unfolding there. This is just absolutely insane. And the sonde data, the drop sonde data from higher above recorded over 200 mile per hour winds up at a higher altitude. And if there's any risk of those coming down and mixing down to the surface, this could easily be 160, 165 mile per hour category 5, assuming that starts to come down. You can see the ice starting to contract a little bit here, suggesting this is going to be probably a category 5 here within short order. And that is what I'm very worried about right now. So we have 2 planes that are coming in, the Air Force reconnaissance plane that left Charleston, and the NOAA plane that is in there right now. The surge is probably going to go up. The surge, either way, the damage has been done with the storm surge, but we could easily see storm surge values of about 25 feet in some isolated locations, with storm surge reaching about 40 to 45 miles inland. And this is not something to joke around with. And if you know anybody that lives down in Lake Charles, their time for evacuation is basically over, and I hope that they have a good plan to ride out the storm. Even Levi Cowan said incredible wind velocities of 180 to 205 miles per hour just above the ground were observed by the drop sonde in the northeastern eye wall of Laura, helping to confirm the winds the plane observed. So this is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation that has kind of been occurring now. So this is just absolutely insane. Thank God that they left from Louisiana, man, because I'm telling you what, even far inland all the way up to Shreveport is going to have fairly significant damage because this is expected to remain a hurricane almost all the way up there. 200 mile per hour winds, yeah, I mean, this is just absolutely insane. I was tracking Hurricane Maria. I was. That was one of those storms that, again, exploded over the Lesser Antilles, and I was really tracking that thing back in 2017. That was right after Hurricane Irma, and there was some concerns that Maria might actually impact Florida again. Thank God it didn't, but it slammed into Puerto Rico in the Lesser Antilles, and it was absolutely insane. You know, and we're really hoping that this just ceases to intensify even further, but unlikely at this point in time. So we have a very significant situation unfolding right now. You can see, and we're going to go back to the recon plane here, and we are going to go in the northeastern eye wall to kind of show you guys for yourself. So here we go, 156 knots, way up here at the very top, again at 878 millibars where this was dropped at, about 172. This would put it over 200 miles per hour. But right there, right above the surface was 142 knots. If that can mix down to the surface, this will inevitably become a Category 5 hurricane if that can end up mixing down to the very surface, which is entirely possible. Yeah, we have more hot towers that are actually developing. You can see them here on the radar. These incredible radar images tonight. These radar images are actually getting so intense that the radar is unable to actually delineate those values. But we can go back to a time where it was able to delineate it, and you can see 164, 161, 159, 162, 160, just a bunch of 160 numbers from earlier. But it's become too intense now for the radar to actually derive some of these radar indicated velocities, which is just absolutely insane. Let's see, this buoy is reporting an east-southeast wind of 61 gusting to 70. The pressure seems to be a little bit off, but that's well away from the center. The center's right here, and so they're getting near hurricane force winds with gusts up to near hurricane force at 70 miles per hour approaching the coastline here. And near Lake Charles, they are getting gusts about 19 miles per hour with a northeast wind at 15. So this will likely become a Category 5 hurricane and just bring intense destruction. And that's very intense language that I don't really use that much. So the reason why this was not a Category 5 is because the winds at the surface was 128 knots. And if you kind of use a reduction, you kind of take the standard deviation of the reduction. There's always kind of a reduction that you have to do from flight level winds to surface winds. If you take that reduction, that equivalates to about 150 miles per hour with what is that, and that's what the Hurricane Center went with, because you always have to use a standard reduction because flight level is at about 10,000 feet. So what we know about the atmosphere is at 10,000 feet there's less friction, but at the very low levels of the atmosphere we have a lot of friction there at ground level. So that's why we're not getting those 146 knots, 156 knot winds at the very surface, because right now there's no way to mix it down, but we're likely going to see some of that now start to mix down to the surface as new intense thunderstorms and updrafts go up. That will inevitably try to help this bring those higher winds to the surface, and this could become a Category 5 right before landfall. So that's why the Weather Channel is really low ball for this too long, made it harder for people to know. Everybody needed to evacuate, and unfortunately the time to evacuate has now long been passed, as what's going to end up happening, you're already getting the far outer bands. This is basically an annular hurricane, which means that what's going to happen is basically there's not a lot of banding to it, but these outer bands are already carrying near hurricane force winds, at least strong tropical storm force. Do I think that this could reach 175? Probably not that intense, but if you can get these thunderstorms to bring down some of the winds that are up there at higher levels, this could easily become 165 or so. Where do you think the next wave is going to develop? Probably going to see this wave try to develop closer to the Lesser Antilles or somewhere in the southwestern Atlantic. If the atmosphere is perfect for a rapid intensification, do you think the National Hurricane Center should go to the high end instead of leaving it until landfall? So here's kind of the problem with that is we still don't know a lot about rapid intensification to predict it quite accurately. And one of the main kind of concerns about rapid intensification is when does it stop? Because there is times where the atmosphere may not be very conductive for rapid intensification in a certain location that you just may not be able to get because it's on such a mesoscale kind of feature, which is basically not in the synoptic, not in the bigger picture. So the Hurricane Center has a very hard task at hand to be able to kind of predict when rapid intensification is going to start and stop. So I think they always should be conservative up to a certain point. Obviously, it's in those rare cases like Laura or Dorian, especially Dorian, the higher end always seems to matter. But regardless, 150 miles per hour compared to 160, you really won't be able to feel the difference. The damage is going to be done either way. Do you have a specific name that will be the most devastating? Do you have a specific name that will be the most devastating? Will it be Laura or some other name? I mean, Laura is already going to be very devastating. I mean, we're already starting to feel the effects of, Laura, and it will likely be a very catastrophic situation. How much bigger will this get? Well, if you're talking about size, this storm is pretty much grown to its maximum size. Of course, it will expand out once it makes landfall, but then at that point it will be weakening. But if you're talking about the strength, this could easily get up to, Category 5 intensity with winds approaching 160 to 165 miles per hour. Do you think this will be one of the top 10 costly storms? It could very well be. That storm surge going 40 to 50 or 40 to 45 miles inland with the 15 to 20 with isolated 25 foot storm surge amounts, that's very concerning and putting it almost on a Katrina-ish level. Not the same. Of course, every storm is different, but this one has the potential to be very significant. Any updates to the P3? So that's what we're going to check right now and see how the P3 is doing and see where they are going to be at. So they are flying on the southern base leg of this right now. So they're on a base leg. That's what we kind of call this. They're on a base leg to this eye wall, and they will be approaching the southeastern eye wall, and then they'll be going right through the center once again and out towards the northwestern eye wall. So that's going to be their next pass through. Yeah, storm surge is going to be very high. The path of destruction, so, once again, this storm is a very large storm, and impacts are going to be felt well away. The impacts are already being felt in places like Mobile, Alabama. The most concentrated corridor for damage is going to be basically right where this eye wall comes ashore and passes over, especially that northwestern eye wall and that northeastern eye wall. That's kind of your strongest two parts of the storm. As they come over that very narrow sliver where that eye wall comes across, you're going to have a very concentrated, narrow, 20 to 30 mile wide path of significant destruction. The closer you get to the center, the higher damage you're going, the much more damage you're going to get. This is going to still be moving. This is moving at about 15 miles per hour, so it's not going to be really slowing down much. This will be kind of keeping its general forward motion speed vector up until landfall and even after. And then it will actually be increasing in forward speed as it gets merged with an extratropical system. So, yeah, they're going to be flying that alpha pattern. They're going to be flying that alpha pattern. The Air Force is going to do it. The Air Force recon plane is probably going to be in there the longest because they're doing a landfall mission this evening. So landfall missions typically are going to be longer events. Now, since they're in Charleston, obviously, because they had to evacuate Biloxi, they might not, be out there for too much longer. But Air Force is going in, and we're going to check on them here. They are flying on their route right now about south, a little bit to the south of Savannah, Georgia right now, which is KSAV. That's Savannah, Georgia. They left from KCHS, which is Charleston. So that is where they're at right now. I think by the next advisory, 160, 931. Very possible. The pressures are still trying to fall pretty significantly, and this could easily be a very strong hurricane. A Hawker F6, is that a drone or what is that? I'm not quite sure what that is. But it could be a drone. But look at that circular eye. I mean, that's a very well-structured eye. There's still several mesovortices in this eye wall here, suggesting that this is still a very intense hurricane. This still has about another 2 to 4 hours before landfall right now. It is still roughly, let me kind of measure this. This is still roughly about 70 miles from the coastline, about 75 miles from the coastline at this point. So this is still a very significant situation that is kind of on tabs here for these areas. So this is very dangerous. Still a lot of lightning in the eye wall at this moment in time. I'm just kind of checking Twitter here for a little bit to kind of see what's going on. But these scenarios are just kind of one of the worst that you can really imagine. This is very significant. So the Recon 141 knot flight level winds, 24 nautical mile I, and pressure down to 942 millibars at this point. This is very, very catastrophic at this certain point in time. What do you think the 10 p.m. winds? So we're going to be getting constant updates now for every hour since this is closing in on landfall. But by 10 o'clock, this will be right along the coast and probably nearing Category 5 intensity, if not already there. How far do you think we can get into the Greek alphabet? Honestly, not completely sure. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick. So, honestly, not completely sure, but it wouldn't be surprising me to see us get into, the first part of the Greek alphabet, that's for sure. But you can see here, even on the southeast side, way out here, we have very strong, these are radar estimated about 49 to 50,000 foot storm tops in the very southeast quadrant of the storm on these trailing bands. And these are going to be rotating in even as Laura makes landfall and moves north. All of this has to come north too. And this will eventually come north, and that's going to be where your stronger rain bands, tornadoes, everything like that is going to be. Will this go through an eyewall replacement cycle? There is no evidence of an eyewall replacement cycle right now. And honestly, even if it does, it's not going to matter because the damage has already been done. I think we'll have about 10 named more storms. We're just going to be pumping through named storms like crazy, I bet. We went from all slop storms and no A's to monster in 2 days. Yep. And you know what? And I told everybody that we're going to have a very significant situation unfolding if something could take advantage of the water temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico. And I said it from the beginning of the season, not to kind of toot my own horn, but I said it from the very beginning of the season that if something comes along in the Gulf of Mexico, this could be potentially bad. And here we are now, months later, staring down a bad situation. Yeah, I would not want to be in Lake Charles. Again, Lake Charles is not that far inland. And we're going to see storm surge about 40 miles inland. And even the Weather Service office in Lake Charles evacuated, and they have operations being taken over by Brownsville, Texas, which is way down here. So, very significant. It's funny how me and my dad were saying major since tropical storm. People were doubting this because, land and shear and everything else, but here we are. A couple days later and staring down a potentially Category 5 hurricane. Do you think we could get an Irma track storm this year? A little bit hard to say, but it is possible. These Cabo Verde systems like Irma is something that we'll have to be looking out for, and it's certainly a possibility. Do you think this could be 160 at landfall? Absolutely. The Recon plane was measuring about 165 to 170 just above the surface, and if any of those winds can be transported by thunderstorms and deeper, convection and updrafts down to the surface, this will be a Category 5. So there is a very real possibility that it could be. Very real possibility. But you can see the eye is nicely shown up here on the IR sat and the radar. It's amazing how this is mirroring Michael, blowing up to Category 5 in the northern Gulf as it's hitting. Absolutely, absolutely. This reminds me so much of Hurricane Michael in 2018, in October of 18. Absolutely. This Recon measured 136 knot plus wind. Yeah, they were measuring surface winds roughly. Here they go. So the Recon plane is now starting their journey back into the eye of Hurricane Laura, but you can clearly see flight level winds here at about 130 knots up here, and these are unflagged with lower rain rates at the time, which indicates that we have a fairly significant, strong cyclone at this very moment. Flight level winds at about 140 knots, suggesting flight level winds. This is a Category 5 hurricane. Surface winds are almost there too. So it would not take much more to see this become a Cat 5. I think this storm, yeah, this could, I mean, so a pressure of 916 millibars probably isn't going to happen, but I could easily see this becoming 160, 165 miles per hour. But 916, and we're still in the 930s. Granted, we have about another 4 hours before landfall, but that would be very significant deepening that would have to occur. And obviously, that would just be catastrophic if it did happen. So wind shear during landfall, most likely not to have an impact. I mean, you know, it could have a somewhat of an impact. There is some vertical wind shear and maybe some hints of vertical wind shear on radar right now, because some of the convective canopy is being kind of blown off a little bit. But even if there is wind shear, this isn't likely to weaken that significantly. With such an intensifying storm, this isn't likely to be weakening that much. Now, there is the possibility that we might have an open eye wall, but it's kind of very hard to determine right now. We'll have to see what Recon finds in the southern eye wall. I thought landfall was 2 to 4 a.m. Yeah, landfall is going to be within the next about 4 to 5 hours or so. This is only now about 75 miles from land, moving northwest here at about 15. So probably the next about 2 to 4 hours, maybe 5 hours to landfall. What is the clearing of rain in this? What is the clearing of rain at the southeast of the eye wall? So this area right here, I'm assuming you're talking about, we'll kind of highlight this in blue. I'm assuming you're talking about this area. This is because of what's known as an annular hurricane. And an annular hurricane doesn't have much banding like other like other hurricanes do. It's more of a truck tire look, and you can almost see that on the IR satellite. This almost looks like basically like a tire, basically. And while this kind of loads up here, because sometimes it doesn't want to load. That's always wonderful. But these annular hurricanes don't have much banding, and that they don't weaken as much when that happens. So we're going to let that load a little bit so it's just not painfully kind of blinding. But the Air Force Recon is now heading in. They're in Georgia currently, just north and west of Jacksonville. NOAA Recon is heading in as well right now to do another pass of the eye. Why do some storms get affected by wind shear and some, and to be quite honest with you, Max, we don't know the answer to that quite yet. We're still doing a lot of research into why tropical cyclones intensify in moderate shear environments and others don't. It's very hard to determine, to be quite honest with you. So, unfortunately, I really don't have an answer. My guess would probably be that these strong storms like this in a otherwise perfect environment, they create their own environment in essence. Do you think this will become a Category 5? Also, do you think the shear, there might be, this will probably become a Category 5, if not very close. There could be some shear that might impact our system, but it's too late now to cause any significant weakening, and the damage is about to be done here and unleashed in a few hours. With the Madden-Julian Oscillation being in a favorable environment for the Atlantic, do you presume a blow-up of more storms? I wouldn't say a blow-up, but I would definitely say that more storms are going to be forming. And we saw that on the EPS earlier today. Yeah, that northern eye wall is just blowing up with cloud temperature tops here at about minus 70 to minus 75 and even minus 80 degrees Celsius cloud tops, which is indicative of very strong thunderstorms in the northern eye wall here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop on Twitter and just see if any experts are talking about this at all. So some rather insane winds here on Lake Charles. This is from Andy Hazelton. 187 miles per hour on the Lake Charles radar site right now. So again, this is up here at about 5 to 10,000 feet or so, and I want to kind of clarify that real quick. But yeah, radar is really suggesting that we're seeing a fairly significant increase. And this would probably be, let's kind of see, that is roughly about 10,000 feet up. So I'm gonna, so that's about 10,000 feet up right now. And this is a very significant and dangerous situation unfolding. Again, the velocities are nearing about, 800 or 800. That would be bad. About 187, 190 miles per hour. Now, this is up at about 10,000 feet, where those very strong flight level winds were when the drop zone got released. But that is a very substantial amount. And if anything could get, stretched down to the surface, I'd be very, very concerned. So Recon is entering that southern side now, which does appear to be a little bit weaker, but we'll kind of wait and see what Recon finds. Yeah, basically, everyone needs to evacuate. That is for sure. Looks like Laura will be affecting Ireland and the UK. Yeah, Ireland and the UK could have some very significant impacts from this situation as well. By the way, if you guys haven't been watching, go check out Hurricane Track's video right now. I'm not going to obviously play it because of copyright, and then obviously that's his work. But if you guys want to go check out hurricanetrack.com, Mark Suddeth, he has live cameras out there right now in the direct impact zone of Hurricane Laura. He's a really cool person. Why is Katrina trending? Interesting. So make sure to go check him out as well. But this, is just a very significant situation that is unfolding right now. This is 7 miles per hour shy of Category 5 intensity. Do you think the next wave could be a Category 2 or major hurricane? Very hard to determine right now. Very hard, since we don't have a storm that is actually formed. It's kind of hard to determine that at the current moment. So, yeah. So this is what Levi Cowan had to say. Let's see. Non-zero. Yeah, so just a lot of technical things here. Could I link him? Are you talking about Hurricane Track and Mark Suddeth from what I was just previously stating? Will the Bermuda High be stronger this season than previous ones? Yep. And that's a result of, this is basically what Hurricane Laura has been feeling the last few days, that the ridge is stronger. Yes, I can definitely link him. Actually, give me 1 second, and I'm going to pop up his YouTube stuff right now. And I'm going to go talk to, let's see. So I'm not going to play his feed, obviously, but I'm going to copy this and just put it into the YouTube comments section so that we can get that one. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, let me... Let me get the chat. Maybe. Yes, no, maybe so. Ah, here it is. Alright. Whoops. Alright, there's the link. So that should be the link now coming across. And that should be that. Yeah, of course, no problem. Could you show the high-res satellite? Yep, absolutely can. That is the high-res visible or not the visible, the IR satellite image. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up try to see if we got any more visible satellite shots, since they are still in a little bit of sunlight, while I kind of readjust myself here. Alrighty, so the visible satellite, we're going to get it to load here, and bandwidth obviously is going to be a little bit of a problem, but So we are going to wait. If this gets to Category 5 status, this will be the 6th hurricane to make landfall in the United States history as Category 5. Yep. And this is what I'm afraid of, you know. I mean, unfortunately, you know, the difference between a Category 5 and whatnot, I mean, just look at that. I mean, I'm actually going to save a screenshot of that just for me. Like, that's absolutely insane, man. Just literally insane. Literally insane at this current moment. Mike, notice how it slowed down to 13. Did it slow down to 13? Because I think at the... It still says north-northwest. Officially, it said north-northwest at about 15. So... have you seen the picture from NASA? Yeah, I did. Absolutely insane, man. It was absolutely insane what we saw from space. Just absolutely crazy. This is going to be a hurricane that is going to make history here in a few short hours, unfortunately. And this is going to be a fairly significant situation that is going to unfold very soon. Yeah, literally. I mean, it's just rapidly intensifying like crazy. Basically out the wazoo, basically. And this is going to be a very significant situation. Don't they usually slow down at landfall? Because of increased friction a little bit, but not much. Estimated for the damage, like damage in dollars, this could easily be over $100 million. Yeah, of course, no problem, man. No problem. But, you know, you can kind of get the glimpse of kind of, you know, what's kind of going on right now, and everything like that, so... So, you can kind of see what's going on, and again, there's a lot of great people here. You know, Jim Cantori is absolutely correct. This is going to change life forever, basically, down there where it makes landfall and even inland. This is going to be a catastrophic scenario. I mean, if this were, you know, which it's obviously not, but, you know, hitting a major metropolitan area would easily skyrocket this into $1 billion. I would not be surprised if this did become $1 billion storm, though, to be completely honest. Yeah, Laura's on the verge of becoming a Category 5, and, you know, last night at this time, the pressures were only at about 983. H-Wharf had to nail this one. I'll kind of say that one right there, but we saw this coming for days, even months, that... You know, if we got in a perfect environment with these type of sea surface temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico and that high upper ocean heat content, this is the exact result you are going to get. What side you think it will hit? Well, what do you mean by that? Because, I mean, basically, like, what do you mean? Oh, never mind. I know what you're talking about. This is probably going to be making landfall on the Louisiana side. Yeah, they are, you know, I'm sure that they're getting thrown around for a little bit of a turbulent ride in there. Alright, so they just passed into the southeastern eye wall. 938.4 on the latest recon pass. 938.4. Southeastern eye wall is obviously weaker at about 110 knot flight level with about 105 knot surface. So obviously the southern side's weaker. We knew that would be the case. At about 938.4 is the latest extrapolated from that. And it seems like that they missed a little bit. So they actually might have missed a little bit here. that pass through. But this is either way a very significant scenario that is kind of playing out right now. Just absolutely insane. I literally have no words for that. Yeah, so they found about 935.9, and this could have been a little bit of a miss on the actual center. So realistically, it could be just a tad bit lower. Yeah, they did miss a little bit. Yeah, that eye is definitely contracting, and I'm going to be curious to see what they find on the northern side of it. The Air Force reconnaissance plane that is heading in now, or that is over, they are over heading into the Florida Panhandle. They should be approaching from the strongest side, the northeastern eye wall too. So we'll have two planes in there at the same time, which is going to give us a very good idea of what's going on. Notice all the tornado warnings up to the north. This is another hazard with this very powerful hurricane, these tropical cyclone-induced tornadoes well out in advance of the strongest part of the storm. That is also going to be a big problem. Do you think Marco was the most let down storm? Honestly, it's probably good that it did not strengthen any further, because had Louisiana been dealing with two hurricanes simultaneously or almost at the same time, it just could have been a very bad situation all in all. I saw the radar about 30 minutes ago when the plane got pushed towards the eye. P3 accelerated to 245. So the recon plane isn't really allowed to exceed, and this goes for all aircraft, not just the recon. At or below 10,000 feet, you are not allowed by FAA rules to exceed 250 knots. So if you're talking, I don't know what 375 miles per hour is in knots, but I would assume it would be close to that. Can a hurricane induce F4, F5 tornadoes? So we have seen situations like Hurricane Ivan in 2004, where there was a moderate risk day for tornadoes, and I think that was we had EF3 tornadoes, maybe an EF4. Isaias just a couple of months ago, brought an EF3 tornado into Virginia as it was making landfall, or kind of moving up the coast there. So yes, it is entirely possible. But EF5 tornadoes, not so much. EF5 tornadoes need a very rare environment, and you probably won't get that in a tropical cyclone. But yes, EF3s and EF4s are possible. Do you think this could become history for the strongest hurricane? Not the strongest, but one of the strongest. Yes. Hurricane Isaias produced an EF3 in Virginia and quite a few EF2s. The water temperatures are actually not about 97 and 98 Fahrenheit. They are roughly about 92 to 93, with water temperatures about 30 to 31 Celsius. That roughly correlates in the high 80s to low 90s. But I don't think I've ever seen sea surface temperatures in or near the hundreds. I don't think. Oh, okay, never mind. Thank you for clarifying, because I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen water temperatures near 100. Yeah, 254 knots, and he's probably very close to about 10,000 feet. I mean, there's obviously a certain deviation to kind of, there's obviously a certain deviation on what you can exceed, but an EF3 in Berkeley County, North Carolina, yep. So that was with Hurricane Isaias, not too long ago, and you remember how that all kind of panned out to be. Lower didn't have enough time to upwell the cooler waters in the Gulf, so temperature should be right. Hopefully we should start to see at least somewhat of an upwelling event, but You know, I wouldn't be completely shocked if, you know, if it didn't upwell it too much, but hopefully at least it will enough. But you can kind of see that northern eye wall is getting kind of just shook around there. Absolutely crazy right now. So current lower pass coming in at 935 extrapolated, which is about 2 millibars lower than the previous. So the storm is likely around 938 millibars or about whatever. And from Andy Hazelton and Phil Clockspot, we talked about them a lot. Lower is about to join some rare company United States hurricane landfalls. The pressure is still dropping here on Hurricane Laura. Either way, this is a very significant situation occurring for those areas. I see this at the same intensity. This could easily be near Category 5. And this is one of the reasons why there could be storm surge 40 miles inland. Look at this and look at basically how flat this is. It's all marsh areas. And that's what I thought. That it's just going to be all marsh areas. Absolutely ridiculous. There's Ed Petrowski chasing out there for this situation. This is definitely kind of getting some Michael vibes right now. Just kind of scrolling through to kind of see what's going on. Here's something here. Textbook kind of eye sorting feature in Laura with a lower concentration of larger drops being affected, lower terminal velocities. So that's interesting. So the H-Wharf kind of nailed this one down. That is certainly for sure. This is going to be a very significant situation here. Yeah, 10,000 to 10,025 isn't that big of a deal. You know, now if you know you increased by about 500 to 1,000 feet, that'd be a bigger deal. And you can easily get those from time to time. So. So this could very well be a very significant situation that is going to occur. So can you show a video of the hurricane when it was a tropical storm? Yes, I certainly can. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. I know that there was, yeah, this is absolutely crazy from Michael Watkins. About a 50 mile per hour, 50 millibar drop in the last 24 hours. Absolutely insane. I know Ben Knoll had something, so if I can't find it while scrolling through here, yeah, I'm just going to look up Ben Knoll. Ben Knoll. So this was 8 p.m. Tuesday and 8 p.m. Wednesday. This is from Ben Knoll. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, so the 8,000 drop, the reason why that is because it's lower pressures. Lower pressures are going to constitute in the actual pressure kind of drop a little bit, but he's staying almost at about 10,000. But because the pressure is dropping, the relative to surface, technically he's dropping as well, if that makes sense. Even if it doesn't hit, yeah, I mean, even if it's not a Category 5 right now, it doesn't really matter that much. So this is going to be a very significant situation right now. So Recon went through, so they did report 137 knots on their latest pass through with Recon, but I want to show you that that was contaminated. So they did find near 145 knot winds, but you notice that there was a 137 knot contaminated. That's a suspected SFMR reading, and that suspected reading shows us that that may not be a true and accurate reading. And typically, you get a lot of contamination in these high-end tropical cyclones at this point in time. The P3 is over land. Let me see. Let me see if they are over land. Let's see. Yeah, they are actually not over land. They turned just offshore of near Lower Mud Lake. That is where they turned, just offshore. So they did not move inland. They did not go over land. And typically they don't, because of the fact that land has different flight dynamics than over water. So typically, going over land in this type of environment is a big no-no, because land has different flight dynamics than water. So that's typically why they won't go over land. Yep, this could easily be a Category 5 in the next update here. Again, what we're noticing is we saw those flight level winds that were up there at about 137 knots, but those were flagged for potential contamination. So this, again, I mean, this could easily be very close to Category 5 intensity. So, yeah, and from Levi Cowan, he just put out that the Recon planes passed through, just now through Laura's northern Iowa, once again measured winds of about 155. So this was right on the cusp of becoming a Category 5. Central pressure is down about 1 millibar since the previous pass, which is indicating no reversal in the intensification trend yet. And this still has a little bit of water over, or a little bit of time left before it moves over land. Still 6 hours before. So this still has a fairly significant time over water. And that's going to be one of the most significant things. So that northeastern eye wall is going to come in very big handy when the second Recon plane goes through there right now, because this is probably going to become a Category 5. So, yep, Hurricane Laura is going to be, that's going to be a retired name, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly, my friend. I really appreciate National Hurricane Center's good work with Laura. They basically got the landfall correct, even though the Euro kept it going west. Yeah, the Hurricane Center has a very tough job, and they are put in a very tough position in terms of what they got to do. And I really feel for them sometimes, because, they got some really tough work that they got to do. How far east did the tropical storm force winds extend? So tropical storm force winds, based on the last public advisory, extends. Why is my flashlight on? There we go. Tropical storm force winds extend out 205 miles from the center, with hurricane force winds extending out 60 miles from the center. So this is from Mark Sudduth. He is heading north to Shreveport, Louisiana, after leaving an array of equipment behind from Grand Isle to Lake Charles and many points in between. He's going to plan up setting up even more equipment tomorrow as it heads inland. So this is a very significant and life-threatening situation. What name I'm not sure actually, because those names are denoted by the World Meteorological Association, so I'm not sure. Your channel is absolutely awesome and fascinating. Your updates are really helpful, and I hope to see you more soon. Stay safe. Yeah, thank you very much, man. Again, that really means a lot to me, and I try to do these updates as much as I possibly can, allowing for, you know, room in personal life and whatnot. But she looks amazing but deadly. Yep. Could not agree with that more. This looks like, unfortunately, one of those nights where, you know, tomorrow you're going to wake up to a different part of Louisiana coastline. That's for sure. Lowers northern Iowa once again measured winds of about 155, right on the cusp of becoming Category 4. Central pressure is down about 1 millibar, indicating no reversal. Yeah, and that's basically what Levi said. That's almost exactly what Levi Cowan just tweeted out not too long ago. So this will likely be still intensifying right up, all the way up until landfall at this current point in time. Basically, and it still has another 2 to 3 hours before landfall, maybe even about 3.5 to 4, which is something you just don't really want to see. Yeah, the wave coming off of Africa, let's see, is there any updates from that? So the wave coming off of Africa has a 20% chance of developing over the next 5 days. Although environmental conditions are not expected to become conducive for development during the next couple of days, they are forecast to become gradually more favorable over the weekend into early next week when the wave moves into the central and western tropical Atlantic. So that is from that. Very, very important. So I think we're probably going to see this end up being, you know, roughly about 155 of the next update. So it's going to be a very bad situation. Yeah, it's getting really close to Category 5. So that 158 mile per hour wind, as I just kind of stated not too long ago, was a potentially contaminated and flagged. It was actually flagged as a suspected SFMR reading. That is the 137 knot or 158 mile per hour wind reading. And that right there, that red kind of little dot is the suspected SFMR reading, which means it was contaminated probably by a high rain rate value. So this may not be representative of the true surface winds. Either way, there is one approaching about 130 knots. So we're up there near Category 5 intensity either way. 185 mile per hour wind gusts. The 185 was up a little bit higher at a higher flight level altitude, so not at the surface. I know I really shouldn't be asking that. Oh, that's okay. Another direct question. Well, I guess it's kind of directed for both of us, but I could kind of, you know, there will definitely be a chance, American Amtrak Rail fan, that you will probably become a moderator. Of course, you know, obviously people who kind of support the channel is going to be, you know, people who support the channel, people who, you know, people who, you know, and anyone who wants to become a moderator, you know, really all it takes is maybe a couple of streams just to kind of figure out how you are, how you act. And, you know, if you act kind of in a, you know, a civil manner and everything else, then absolutely, man. So I got no problem with it. You know, maybe over the course of 1 or 2 live streams that I do or whatever, you know, and everything, then you would certainly have the chance to become a channel moderator. Yeah, probably 155, 938. Recon doesn't find lower pressure. Yeah, they probably will, to be quite honest with you. They probably will. Especially on that northeastern eye wall is where it's going to really be. Wikipedia says... So Wikipedia, of course, it can be monitored, or, it can kind of be altered by people who, sometimes wish cast or whatever, so... Hello there. Yes, you can be. You know what? I'm going to make you a moderator right now. This is your third live stream. You've been pretty civil, so boom, there you go, sir. There you go. You are now a moderator. Dude, talking about moderators, you have blown up on here since early June. Happy for you. You're amazing at this. Thank you very much, man. That really, that really means a lot to me, man. That really does. And to know that I have a great group of people and great people that support this channel, really means, a lot, No problem, man. Again, I'm always here to, excuse me, I'm always here to be helpful to people and help people learn and keep people safe as well. One interesting note here is that the center might be moving a little bit due east of where the Hurricane Center position had it at. Yeah, trust me, welcome to spelling, because I literally could not spell for the life of me earlier today. Yeah, I'll definitely check my DM there to see what you sent me there, Max. Really looking forward to it, actually. Oof, 2 a.m. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be up that late. It'll still probably be making landfall here within another about 2 to 3 hours, but I'm probably going to get off in about, probably about 30 minutes or so. I like to keep these videos a little bit shorter and obviously give me a little bit, to kind of relax right before bed there. Alright, see you there, American Amtrak Rail fan. Have a good night, man. Stay safe. Yeah, literally. Let's just hope that we don't have another one of these Laura/Michael situations this year, or Irma, or Harvey, or anything else, man. This is the last thing we need, and everything that's going on here, not even in the United States, but just in general, with the pandemic and everything. Obviously, this is the last thing that we really could use right now. But this is basically approaching the landfall point right now, somewhere just south of Lake Charles, Louisiana, probably somewhere near Cameron, Louisiana, right near the Louisiana-Texas border. This is going to be a very dangerous situation. Thank you very much for that, those kind words, Max. Again, that really means a lot, man. Very appreciative of the work that you do as well. Very nice graphics that you design. And very thankful that you support this. So basically right now we are waiting on additional recon from the NOAA and Air Force plane to kind of be bumping in, kind of coming in at the moment. Air Force recon is just now exiting the Florida Panhandle, so they will be descending into Laura quite soon. 2020 has something else. Yeah, it's really been something else. What wind speeds do you expect? 45 miles west of Shreveport once the eye reaches up here. Thank you, brother. So 45 miles west of about Shreveport, you guys could easily see winds. So, if we're talking Shreveport, Louisiana, winds, 45 miles from there could easily be on the order of 50 to 60 miles per hour once the center gets up there. You could easily see 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Yeah, so Max, I'm actually kind of thinking about doing that. Recently, as I, passed the 100, or not the 100, the 1,000 K mark, I'm probably going to start kind of setting that up within the next few weeks, so. Reverted the edits because I don't see any evidence of Category 5. Yeah, I mean, it will probably be a Category 5 at some point or another, to be quite honest with you. I mean, the way that this is intensifying tonight, it probably will be. I just want everyone knowing Mike has been right about the storm from the get-go. Thank you, brother. I'm in the Treasure Coast of Florida and still watch your videos. Well, thank you very much for that, Brad. It's a very hard, challenging forecast, and I'll be completely honest with you. I'll be the first one to admit I did not nail down everything. But I still got a lot to learn in forecasting, but obviously very humbling words from you, man, and that's greatly appreciated. I hope everything's going down there well in the Treasure Coast, and I'm here in Orlando, so I suppose Recon will go from northwest to southeast. Probably. That's probably what Recon will end up doing. I'm actually going to check FlightAware and see where they're at. So yeah, they're going to go through the northwest eye wall and go to the southeast. Yep. Because they turned just to the south of Port Arthur, and now they're moving on towards that northeastern eye wall. So, let's see. Hurricanes are unpredictable as earthquakes. So they're not as unpredictable. I mean, we can see things that kind of come a little bit, we can see hurricanes to come a little bit before earthquakes. Obviously, with earthquakes, you don't have much of a, an understand, or not much of an, we have an understanding, but we don't have nearly as much of an advanced warning as we do hurricanes. It's just like October 21st when there was a tornado warning in Dallas. Wow. That was actually like a week or so after Michael made land, or not Michael. I'm not sure when that was. That might have been near hurricane landfall point or something. Michael, will Laura become a storm for the UK, just like Storm Francis we had a couple of days ago? So, this is one of the things that I kind of want to touch on real quick. Now, the official Hurricane Center forecast for Hurricane Laura, and I could have just brought it up earlier, but the official forecast has us kind of moving through the Canadian Maritimes, potentially as a fully tropical cyclone, and then moving on up and then probably getting carried east. So it is possible, yes. It is certainly possible to have something kind of pop up for that area. Hey, you live in Orlando. Nice. So, from Mark's weather station in Sabine Pass, Texas, the 1 minute average wind speed was 38.7 miles per hour with a wind gust of 47.1. The pressure is not recording, but it is recording internally, so we'll see that data once everything kind of comes out. Yeah, this is just absolutely crazy. I mean, we're getting, very strong winds up there. An oil rig platform in the eastern bands of Laura is reporting a 56 knots sustained with gusts up to near hurricane force, so that's crazy. I'm not trying to get anything from this, but can I, as the chat, if they want free graphics? Yeah, I mean, you can certainly ask. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. You're not, significantly, self-promoting where you're trying to take viewership away, so that is obviously no problem, man. Go right ahead. No problem with that. Has the wind speed changed or millibars yet? So the maximum sustained wind was increased to 150 miles per hour and a pressure of 940. That was as of the 8 o'clock advisory. The 9 o'clock update will be coming out here very soon for the position update and everything else. So we will be getting that here momentarily. Very significant storm surge right now occurring in Cameron, Louisiana. I am going to pull up Mark Sudduth's tweet here, since it is technically free use, since he did put it up on to Twitter. So let me find it. So there is Cameron, Louisiana right now. This is from Mark Sudduth's stream. This is from Mark Sudduth's stream. Right now, this is in Cameron, Louisiana. Very dangerous situation unfolding right now in Cameron. This is basically where the eye wall is going to pass almost right over. And that is Cameron, Louisiana right there. Hurricane warning, storm surge warning, whatever. That is Cameron, Louisiana. And that center is not even about 60 miles from that area yet. So we still got another while to go, really, before this starts to actually kind of get ramping up. These buildings right here will likely be no more as of tomorrow. Very sorry to say that, but those will likely be no more as of tomorrow, in my opinion. So Recon is now exiting into the Atlantic or Gulf of Mexico, so they will be kind of going into the northeastern eye wall of Laura here very soon. Again, this is one of those very dangerous situations that you just don't want to ever have verify right now. High tide, I am not exactly sure when high tide is, but I think, yeah, probably what was said there of about 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning seems correct. Could be a little bit earlier, though. Yeah, the Eastern Pacific has 2 tropical cyclones, but they're very sheared. And both of those are, one of them could affect the Cabo San Lucas resort areas as a weakening post-tropical system. And the other one isn't even forecast to become a hurricane. Both of them are forecast to weaken fairly significantly because of all of this rising air over the Atlantic Basin right now. That's pretty much why. So we're just really waiting for the 9 o'clock update from the Hurricane Center, which will be coming out here any particular moment. So we kind of be waiting for that. And then we'll obviously wait for Recon as well. But again, this is one of those very bad situations you just have here. I hope they emptied. Yeah, I really hope so too, man, because have you heard of the Beaumont, Texas floods from the outer rain bands? So Beaumont, Texas, yeah, there's some flooding going on right now. We can kind of see that. Some flood warnings right there for the Beaumont area, Pine Forest, from some of those rain bands. And unfortunately, it's only going to look like that those rain bands are going to rotate over that same area over the next couple of hours or so and cause even more flooding over that area. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Yes, the National Hurricane Center does have something over the island, or something near the islands, 20% over the next 5 days. Very, 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 just the last thing we need. Excuse me. A lot of tornado warnings right now to the east of Baton Rouge this evening as the outer rain bands. Still a lot of lightning in the eye wall right now of Hurricane Laura. Indicates that this storm is still strengthening with significant mesovortices, and this eye wall is still only 66 miles from land at this current point in time, which means it has another about 2 to 3 hours of additional intensification tonight and this could become easily a Category 5 by the time this makes landfall later tonight. So very significant situation. Those, just the drop sondes and everything, this really is going to confirm that this is likely to be a very significant situation. I'm going to put that back on loop here. But again, there is a lot of lightning in that landfall, so fill up tomorrow. Lord's going right over these massive oil rigs and they shut down. Will probably be damaged. Yep, I bet you there will probably be some damage to these oil rigs, and that's just the last thing that we need. This probably isn't going to slow down significantly before landfall. I don't see that happening. Excuse me. I have a question. Why does the United Kingdom have the most tornadoes? I've seen on some websites. So, from my understanding, the United Kingdom is, I think, about third, with the United States and Canada leading, if I'm recalling that correctly. Because I know the United States is the #1 leading in tornadoes every year, from what I understand and recall. The Southwest Louisiana area is likely to be dealing. Yeah, they already have sustained tropical storm force winds, and the one from Sabine Pass, or from Sabine Lake, from Mark Sudduth's thing, he did have sustained tropical storm force winds, I think. Yeah. So they had 38 miles per hour, some near sustained tropical storm force winds in Sabine Pass, Texas, with gusts up to 47. So that's very significant. So they did just do their tropical weather update here. Sustained winds still of 150 miles per hour. Pressure down to 937 millibars at the 9 o'clock tropical weather update. They cite possible tornadoes occurring in Laura's outer bands over southwestern Louisiana and extreme southwestern Mississippi. So, how are things looking for Lafayette, Louisiana? So, the bottom line for all of Louisiana tonight, conditions will continue to deteriorate. Tornado watch out for most of Louisiana at this point, especially to the east of New Orleans. And again, Lafayette, Louisiana is right here. You guys will be seeing near hurricane force winds, if not winds approaching 90 to even 100 miles per hour at times, and some gusts, heavy rainfall, flooding certainly, and a couple of isolated tornadoes and some of those rain bands that come through. Yeah, those storm surge values are absolutely just off the charts, bonkers. So, by the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Again, I'm going to kind of try to wrap this up here fairly quickly within the next couple of minutes to kind of just get ready to kind of wind down for the evening. Almost looks like there's a little bit now of a westerly jog occurring. This might mean that Cameron, Louisiana might get just directly impacted by the strongest portion of the eye wall here. Again, this is going to be a very bad situation for everybody that's involved right now. And again, Lake Charles is going to get slammed and might actually put the radar out of operational use here. Tornado warnings near Baton Rouge and New Orleans right now, just absolutely insane. They do note here from the Storm Prediction Center that there should be favorable surface-based instability and everything else for tornadoes in the outer rain bands. We covered the update position already. 150 miles per hour, pressure down to 937 millibars, north-northwest at 15 miles per hour. So this is certainly going to be a fairly significant situation. So Laura was about 95 as of the 8 o'clock update. Laura is 95 miles south of Lake Charles. Winds 150, pressure 937 millibars. Well, I will join the next live stream, and soon I might become a mod. Yeah, you know what? To be completely honest with you, I'm going to go ahead and put you as a moderator right now on the channel. I'm going to go ahead and add you to moderator, so you should now be moderator for the channel. Again, thank you very much for all the contributions that you've made to the channel and everything else. We'll see if the pressure is dropped again. Yeah, very possible that we could have a pressure drop. Yeah, pressure's down to 937. So in the Houston area, you can be expecting, you know, again, for the Houston area, you can be expecting some rain bands coming in from time to time, but it looks like right now that the worst of the conditions is going to be well to the east of where this, or well to the east of this area. And this is probably, again, some rain bands, you know, maybe some tropical storm force winds and upwards of 40 to 55 miles per hour in some of those rain bands. But you will likely not, you will not be getting the center in the most strong winds, but some rain bands from time to time may occur. From Harrison, do you think I could become a mod? Yes, you could definitely become a moderator. How many streams have you kind of tuned into? Just curious. I kind of keep a threshold on of like how many streams people come in. Alright, sorry about that. Alright. We are back. Alrighty. That was relatively interesting. Give me 1 second. Alrighty. Just had a cough a little bit there, so I am good now, though. That's what you get when you talk a lot. Your voice starts to go. So, all right, there we go. Voice is back now. Can you start tweeting a few minutes before you go live? Yeah, I definitely can. Excuse me. I could definitely go definitely kind of tweet it out a little bit before I go live, and that way you guys can kind of get the up-to-date information about when I'm going live and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, I could definitely make Harrison a mod, so that's what I'm going to do. Harrison, boom, you are now a moderator. From Dallas, I would moderate, but jumping between different sites for source material and updates would be a distraction for me. Yeah, no problem, man. You know, that's no problem at all. As long as you're kind of, contributing to the channel, no worries, man. From Jonathan, shouldn't a continued pressure drop add to the winds? Yeah. And you know what? I think the Hurricane Center right now is being a little conservative. They kind of want to see what the next pass is going to be. And I do believe that the winds will probably be upped here pretty shortly to 155. Yeah, definitely. I'm probably going to hop off here in about 10 minutes or so. Kind of give my voice a little bit of a rest. Between work and, all these video updates and hardly any sleep, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, so Robert, if you'd like to become a mod, I'll be doing additional live streams. I'm gonna be live streaming a lot more as time goes on. Really, I think, about two to three live streams, just to kind of see how people are acting, just to kind of make sure, everyone's going to act civil and everything else like that. And certainly then, you can become a mod. If you've been here for about 2 to 3 streams, please let me know, and I can go ahead and make you mod now. I just kind of have a limit to just make sure that everyone's going to kind of behave themselves, and we're not going to have any sort of behavioral issues or anything. So Nana hasn't even formed as of right now. There is a tropical wave way out in the eastern Atlantic right now with the 20% over the next 5 days. Not really, watching that really hard right now. It's too hard to kind of determine, where this might go, after 5 days from now. So not even a named storm yet. Of course, I'll be watching it, but not getting not getting any hyped about it right now currently. That's my biggest issue with these historic storms. It's so devastating and sad, but mandatory. Yeah, these are really interesting to follow. And again, like Lorenzo back in last year, I really loved, really loved to be able to, track these things and stuff like that. Michael, if you have some honey and tea, make some. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. I'll probably hop downstairs here in a little bit and do that. Let's see. And you don't get any sleep at all to staying up to date to see it all. Yeah, I mean, no sleep, it's kind of become a part of my routine, honestly. I'm kind of used to it now. Definitely been to more than 3. All right, no problem with that. Then, Robert, you are now a moderator, sir. Again, thank you for contributing and everything else. You are now a moderator. So, again, I think everyone who, kind of comes out here and supports, what we do and stuff like that, or, what I do, and, again, if you guys are interested in teaming up or anything, of course, you can shoot me a DM here on Twitter. We live stream on Laura tomorrow. Laura will probably be inland, obviously, by tomorrow. I probably will do a live stream. It probably won't be solely focused on Laura. It will be probably focused on Laura and, our other tropical disturbance and just kind of a look at everything. What I'll probably end up doing is, just depending on work schedule tomorrow, I'll probably end up posting a video discussion and a video update, and then probably posting a, we're doing a live stream here later. Thanks very much, Robert. That is very, very, very kind of you to say. And again, thank you very much for, your continued support. Really makes a lot. So, yeah, they just passed through 980 or 935. We're going to take a look at that just real quickly, and then I'm going to go ahead and hop off for the night since it's just now passing and eclipsing 9 o'clock. So, let's see. So, yeah, they found winds here undenoted of nearly 130 knots and actual at about 125 to 130. Pressure seems to be down to about 935 based on the extrapolated. 934.9 actually was the lowest. So that is very concerning. We're still seeing an intensifying Hurricane Laura as it approaches the coastline. Yeah, we'll be doing a impact here, kind of an impact video on Laura tomorrow. Good night there, Hurricane Mason. Does a smaller eye make a hurricane more intense? Yes, typically. A smaller eye typically indicates stronger wind gradient and everything else like that. And it typically increases your winds because the pressure gradient is stronger. With a stronger pressure gradient, it typically increases the winds. Yeah, thank you very much, Jonathan, for tuning in, and thank you everyone for tuning into this live stream. Again, I appreciate everybody for your continued support to this channel. That really means a lot to me. And of course, you know, I will be doing video updates and live streams as the season progresses. This is relatively something new that I'm trying for this year, so I hope you guys like it. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything, don't be afraid to either go and look for my business email on the About Me section of my YouTube page, or of course you could go follow me on Twitter at MikeRomali1, which is right here at MikeRomali1. You guys can go follow me on there. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to go follow me on there and tweet at me or direct message me for that. I think 155 next advisory. Yeah, definitely could see 155. Market a small line. I thought I was going to do some damage. Luckily, yeah, that wind shear was what got market to dissipate. Quick question: why is the main development region full of dry air? But usually it moistens. Really, just with the Madden-Julian oscillation kind of passing through, and and really that right now. The suppressive Kelvin wave, I believe, did pass over, which does leave some, dry air and subsidence. But overall, it's starting to moisten up quite significantly now. So again, thank you everyone for coming out to the stream tonight. Again, I hope you all did go ahead and enjoy it. Again, if you guys do want to go follow me at MikeRomali1 here on Twitter, make sure to take a picture of that or whatever if you guys do want to go follow me. I'll be happy to answer more questions over there tonight and throughout the next few days. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to go look on the About Me section of my YouTube for my business email, and there you guys can go ahead and email me. All right. With that being said, have a great night, everyone. Stay safe, obviously, and I'll talk to you guys some more later tomorrow. Stay safe, everyone, and thank you all for tuning into the stream. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.